In this video, you're going to be setting up Git on your machine. Git is the version control system that we're going to be using to keep track of our project code. It's going to make it really easy to track the versions. It is version control after all. It's also going to make it easy to back up our code, revert to previous versions of our code, and collaborate with others. So you can find this tool over at git-scm.com. Now, when you think about version control for your code, think about playing a video game, right? You go through the game, you have these various save points, and you could load a previous save point if you wanted to start from that place. This is very similar to how we're going to be using Git in our project. We're going to create quote unquote save points, and this is going to represent the application and all of the files as they were at that point in time. Now, this is great because if we ever get into a situation where we've broken code and we just don't remember how to undo things, or we decide that there's a bug and we'd rather revert to before that bug was introduced, we can do that stuff. So with a video game, you might get into a boss battle, realize you're not strong enough for that, but if you don't have a save point, what? You just die and then you load back in the boss battle and you can never actually beat him. So it would be best to load before you ever got into that sticky situation, then get the gear or the potions you need to fight the boss, and it's the exact same thing with our code. There's going to be times where we just get ourselves into a nasty situation without version control. It can be really difficult to get out of that. With version control, we can just run a command to revert to the last working version of our app. So you might already have Git installed on your machine. If you head into the terminal, you can run clear first to clear the terminal output, and then git --version. This is going to print the current version of Git if you do have it installed, or an error if you don't. And we're looking for Git version 2 or greater. In this case, I'm using 2.10.1. So if you do have a v2 of Git installed, you can skip the rest of this video and move on to the next one where we actually integrate it. If you are getting an error like Git not found or command not found, that's fine. We're going to go ahead and fix that by actually installing the tool. Over inside of the browser, there should be a download in this little computer for your operating system, whether you're on Linux, Windows, or Mac. I'm going to go through the Mac installation. This is just one of those click next installers. There is nothing complex you have to do to get Git installed. Now, there's been an issue here for a while, maybe a year or two. If it doesn't start automatically, you do have to go over to SourceForge and grab it from there. It's a little bit of a pain, but that is the way it is. So once the Git installer does download, all we're going to do is run through the process. Then we'll be done and we can continue on to the next video where we actually use it. Should just take a few seconds to download. And once it does crack open, we're going to move through the installer using all the default options. So right here, I'm on Mac, so I do have to right-click open to allow this unverified program to run. And once it is up and running, you should see an installer like this, and we're just going to go through the motions. Now, if you're on Windows, at some point in this process, there's going to be an option on the screen asking you if you want to install a program called Git Bash. Go ahead and check that option. We are going to need that later on in order to set up something called SSH keys. So for now, though, we are going to continue through. If you're on Linux or Mac, you can just install it in a standard way. If you are on Windows, make sure to install it with Git Bash. And once I do go through the entire process, we should just get a screen where it says everything went well. I'm going to go ahead and close this down. Close down the tab. Switch back into the terminal, and depending on your operating system, you might need to restart the terminal completely. That includes all terminal tabs in order to see the new version show up. Right here, though, I can see I am using version 2.13.1. So as long as you are seeing a Git version of 2.x.x or greater, you are ready to continue on to the next video where we actually integrate Git. So let's go ahead and jump over there. If you ran into any problems in this one, just go ahead and ask a question in the Q&A. All right, I'll see you next time.